This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved. I'm going to try to make everything work. So hopefully I'm just oh, hang on a minute. How come you can hear me on that mic? This is the mic you should be hearing me on. Can you hear me better now? Do you want to know? That was picking up the microphone that is sort of like a meter away. Yeah, no, now you can probably no, right. I don't think they can hear you on the stream. Okay then, stream, can you hear me, and can you talk now, people?
Hello.
Talk.
Hello.
Yeah.
Talk.
So hopefully you can hear them both. That's what I'm hoping they can hear you both, and then hopefully that'll be fine. So hello and welcome back. We've had a bit of a Christmas break, but we're back now, and it's quite a good time to come back because just before Christmas we finished a series of adventures when the party were battling with hybrids that looked very much like werewolves, but I prefer to call them hybrids. And the party have come back to Lindowe, their base town, in order to actually spend some experience rolls, and we're going to be doing that shortly. Then we'll catch up with what's been happening in Lindowe, and the players will need to go back and touch base with their orders, their cult or their brotherhoods or the general nobility, and see what's been happening there. And then they will have some time then to go out and see what is actually been happening, if they wish, to poor Basil's tavern, the Hairy Hobgoblin. But before we get on to that, so I can check the sound checks, I am going to allow the players an opportunity to say who they are and who they will be playing tonight. And straight off, we're coming to you, Mr. Pickles. Go.
I am Mr. Pickles, and I play Bartleby Fumus, which is our team's theist. He worships the goddess Amriel, who is the light moon goddess, and through her, he's able to work miracles such as healing, helping, reducing fatigue, allowing people to be protected from various things. He can protect from spirits, from physical injury, from disease and poison, all sorts of good stuff. But he's also our team's historian, in addition to the healer. He knows a lot about the history of this area. He knows a lot about monsters of this land, even if it's mostly just fairy tales that his parents had told him. He knows a little bit of commerce, a little bit streetwise. The only thing Bartleby's not really all that great at is inflicting pain and punishment on people. He's not a fighter in any sense, and with that, I'd like to pass the microphone on to Longshank CPG.
What are you saying, Mr. Pickles? Hi guys, I'm Longshank CPG, and on a complete sidebar, I've just noticed Inwalls is the only one of the five of us with no facial hair at the moment. Ooh. Anyway,
that's because it doesn't grow. This is. I haven't been shaving for 6 months, and this is it.
There we go. So I'm Longshank CPG, and tonight, as always, I'm playing the noble character Hengist. He is a warrior from across the sea who wears heavy armor and wields a 1.5-handed sword. also called a longsword, in pretty much every situation. He will use that, I think. He tries to be noble. He's trying to come across as defending the weak and the helpless, righting wrongs, those sorts of things, and is joined the noble house Galot because that is more or less their ethos, or it has been. We'll find out later if it still is, because they used to give arms and armor to the town guard of Lindowe. They look after the smiths, they look after the poor and those sorts of things. So they aligned quite nicely with that. And I'll pass it on to Captain Kangaroo because he's looking sleepy.
I'm not sleepy. I'm actually really awake. I'm surprised by this. Hi, everyone. I am Captain Kangaroo. I am playing Cyrus alias tonight. Cyrus is the Robert Downey Jr. type of the group. He's a sorcerer with a fiery temper. He can also handle himself with hand-to-hand combat pretty decently. We'll see. We'll see if Imros plans to do anything to prevent me from being able to use hand-to-hand combat with my glaive, but we'll find out where that goes out tonight.
So I thought you said you want to do hand-to-hand combat. That's what I've arranged.
Well, I can do that too. I got an arm.
So
I got an arm.
Slap.
Besides that, he has a lot of vices that he is slowly working to fix and everything. And I think over time, of course, I'm the newest of the bunch here, but I think over time, Cyrus has proved himself to not be as selfish as he initially seemed. From there, I am going to pass the mic to Medevac.
Right, thank you, sir. Look, I don't have facial hair because I shaved mine off by accident. So, a bit here, a bit there. Oh no, shave it all off. So I am Medevac. I play Hasra Khan. He is a nomad from northern steppes of Odess. He's the group's tracker, forager, hunter, stealthy, outdoorsy wood person. He has a little cabin in the woods where he hunts game and supplies various meats to Basil at the Hairy Hobgoblin. He's also a member of the Brotherhood, which is a secretive group of people. There's normally a set of 3-ish around any particular biome, and these people will keep track of what happens in those areas, how nature affects nature and how people affect nature and how things change. And they try to maintain a delicate balance so nothing is too much out of whack as such. He likes to use his short spear, he wears quilted armor, and he has a scimitar as a backup weapon. And he's not very fond of towns, but he does stick with this town because he knows people in here, he knows the way it works and so on, and his friends go there, and he likes his friends. So with that, I shall pass on to it will.
Because he's got some friends, and his friends. Big Beasties in the stream at the moment, as I said hello, and of course his first ever character he used to play with us, and this was his character that you could see on the screen now. He was actually a bow person, believe it or not. He actually used a bow. Well, shall we say he tried to use a bow. It wasn't anything bad with Big Beastie's play, but we didn't really know the rules, and he sort of like made up this bow person. Then it was sort of like fire, okay, and wait and reload, because I think his bow needed 3 turns to reload. So he fired one at the first action, and then he had to do reload, fire again. So by that time people
like
Hengist had cleaned it up.
And by that time I think he nearly got his arm ripped off by a harpy, if I remember, something like that. But no, he was a good character. It was fun to have that. Okay then, so welcome back everyone. We've got some new things tonight. and we're going to try this out. But just so everybody's on the same wavelength, because we had some questions about it today in my stream. So this that I'm just putting in the middle of the screen is in the panels below, and the players have seen it. So we have actually decided to allow you, the active viewers, to start having an impact on the game that we are playing. Now, how I see this is that the players are heroes, you know, and in this world they are known to be heroic. And just like in the Hunger Games, when people are looking down at them, they're probably mystical powers looking down and keeping an eye on the players and their characters as they move through the adventures. So just to be clear with everybody, players as well, so we know, there's 3 options that you can do. I've put everything in pounds, but if it ends up going into dollars, then that's absolutely fine, whatever's easier to do. So for £1 or 100 bits, you donate or give us those bits, and you choose a player, okay? And then that player has the option to either make one of their roles easier or make one of my roles harder. Okay, so by 1 difficulty. Does that make sense, players? That one. Okay, so just by 1. So, and you can say that you're going to, you don't have to say you're going to use it before the skill is rolled. You can roll it and then say, I will use this now to make that an easy, so it goes off. Or Big Beastie says, and £5 will kill them all. Yeah, that's the £10 one that I haven't put on. That's just between. So, and then players, you get the option. Okay, so you can either say, I'm happy with my roll, but in rules, I want yours to be a harder difficulty. Okay, so that just adjusts the difficulty. For £3 or 300 bits, you can either have an automatic success or me to have an automatic failure. Okay, when that happens, then it's the best success that you can have. So if you've got a skill roll of 74, you will roll 74, which is the best roll you possibly can get without changing the crit or anything like that. But again, you have the option. If you have that, then you can either automatically succeed your roll, or you can say, no, I'm sorry, in Wills, I'm going to make your character fail that roll. And that will be automatic, done and dusted. And finally, for £5 or 500 bits, they can award to any one of you a luck point, an additional luck point. Additional luck points are used first rather than your normal luck points. Okay, so really use those first. And the other thing that I ask for you to do is, please, if you do get awarded something, try to use it in the session, because otherwise somebody might award you it and then you might not use it and they might not be watching the next session, and things will building up. Final thing that I'm going to say is that you can only have one of each in a session. Okay, you can only have one of each in a session. So we can't have Bartleby gaining more luck points throughout, you know. So you can only have one of each throughout the session, because I don't want it that one player is getting everything and nobody else is getting anything else. And Medivac's already said that he's going to have his wife on another channel piling things in. And
you got a ringer.
Break the savings.
And can I just say, I am totally in favour of that. I am more than happy for that to happen. Okay then, so yeah, if you wish to do that, then it is in the panels below as well. And the other thing that I am going to bring in, I think I'm going to bring in some use of the channel points as well, to try to bring those into play as well. The normal channel points, i.e. make me dance or do squats, are not operational in this sort of like session. Okay, so but yeah. Hard luck. Hard luck. So, okay then. So what we're going to do first is that we're going to have a look at skill points. Now, just to let you know that every time in systems like Dungeons and Dragons, you get experience points, and then this experience points build up, and then you level, and then you actually gain levels. That's not the case in Mythras. What happens is that you get allocated experience rolls, and you can use those rolls to improve any of the abilities any of the skills that you have. Okay, it doesn't matter. You can use you can use all the experience rolls on one skill. You can use them on other skills. To actually learn a new skill or a new spell, it costs 5 experience rolls, unless it's a folk magic spell, in which case it costs 3 experience rolls. I'm just making sure that Mr. Pickles is nodding yes. Okay, and then that generally gives me an inkling about an idea about how much downtime they're going to have. So for example, if somebody wishes to learn a new skill or a new spell, then that's virtually 4 weeks of time taken up, as the world will continue as they go through. Okay then, so to actually increase a skill, they use a skill roll, and then they roll a percentile dice to generate a random number between 1 and 100. They add on their intelligence, and then they need to get their current skill level or higher. If they get their current skill level or higher, then they increase their skill by 1d4 plus 1. If they don't get it, then they just increase their skill level by 1. The only other thing, and they have probably done this already, if they fumble at all, that means that they get a roll of 99 or 100 on any skill, or 100 if their skill's above 100, then they automatically get a fumble, which means that that skill automatically improves by 1 without any skill points added. So I will assume that you've all done your fumbles, and that's completely done and dusted it out the way. So Mr. Pickles, we're going to come to you, and you're going to tell us each player has 8 experience rolls to use. Hengist doesn't have 8 because his charisma is very low, and so he has 4. He gets -1 for every adventure, so generally they get 2 experience rolls per adventure, and they've had roughly 4, and so that's 8, but he will only get 1 per adventure, so he gets 4. I think is it 4 your charisma?
Bit higher than that. I'm just double checking.
4.5.
Not much higher.
Yeah.
No, it is 4 actually. It's dead on 4. I was thinking of power.
Yeah, so that's not the best one, right? So okay then. So yes, Mr. Pickles, how would you like to use your rolls?
I'm going to be just getting some skill increases, no new spells, because Bartleby is trying to impress the higher ups to get a graduation to the next rank. My intelligence here is 14, so my rolls will be D100 plus 14. First roll I'm going to do is influence, which is out of 51.
Right, so 51 or higher on this roll. Nice.
Uh.
A good start. Medivac's really worried that all the big rolls are coming out now, which means
Oh my.
Oh wow. Do you know
I wanted those rolls for when I roll my high ones later.
Bartleby is often like this. He does really well in his skill improves. So that's gone up by 5 points. Brilliant. So what's that now? 56?
56. I'm a little bit more persuasive, and I did really want that one. Willpower's the next one, a 53.
53. So 1d100 plus 14. Ooh. So that
Bartleby's still a bit of a coward.
Yeah, but it goes up to 54, which is good.
54. And that's enough for my standard skills. Going over to professional, I would like to put Lore of Lower Lindowe up by 1. That's currently a 33.
33. Nice.
And I did it. D4 plus 1.
Oh, not so good.
It can't always be 5s. But that brings me up to a 35, and that's nice and even. 1 point into oratory. This would be my 4th point. Oratory is currently a 52. And I got a 52. And I'm spacing what happens when we roll the exact number?
It says the number or above.
Oh, okay.
So you get your 1d4.
Good to know. I got a 3. It's not bad. That brings me up to a 55. Nice and divisible. Let's see, and then that brings me on to the magical skills. 1 into folk magic, which is currently at a 90.
So
because
I
I
was
got a fumble there.
I was a bit distracted there because the stream could see some of my cam in your box, and it was quite. so every time my hand went off at one direction, it appeared, into your little frame. Yeah, sorry.
You got to give me some distance there.
Yeah, sorry. Social distancing.
Folk magic. It's at a 90, so let's see. I wanted that first roll for this. No, just going up to 91.
91, which is good. That will increase everything up to 10 if anything is reliant on your folk magic.
No. But that's okay. 1 for exhort, which is an 89.
89. Oh, no.
And now it's a 90.
But now it's a 90. Will go... Oh, no, that'll just be 9 still. It's only when you get to 91 that it will round up.
And that's 6 of my rolls. So for the last 2, I'm going to put it into devotion because Bartleby is really trying to prove himself. My devotion is a 95.
Oh.
So here's the first.
Oh, no. 96 now.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. You're getting there.
And here's my last roll. 96.
Yes! Oh,
Okay.
96. You need a 4 or above. A 4 or above will be absolutely superb.
2.
Oh!
That's okay though. 98
98.
is it's getting pretty high up there. And, I'm pretty darn devoted to Amriel.
Yeah, and I think Bartleby is actually ready to leave the rank of initiate and move into being an acolyte. Is that correct?
Skill-wise, yes, but I believe the thing that's still a hang-up is I need to prove myself that I'm truly dedicated to the church.
So that's coming up in a little while in today's adventure.
Oh. Never mind. Stop
Well,
interrupting.
the start of it, in any case. Okay, we're coming to Mr. Hengist, who has 4 rolls. So where are you going to put your rolls?
I'm in shock. Sorry, I just got really into and it was and Bartleby is having his moment of truth, and I was like,
Yeah. It's going to come down to a dice roll. He either succeeds or he dies. And it's on his willpower.
as long as it's at least even, as long as it's 50-50 roll, then
Cat,
everything's
stop
good.
doing that, Cat. Cat, stop it.
Cat, do it again. Do it again, Cat.
Was that your
Hold
cat?
on, I gotta investigate the cats.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Right, go for it, Hengist.
So Hengist has 4
Correct.
experience rolls. He's going to be very boring, and he's going to put all 4 of his experience rolls into his main combat style because he was downed by one of the brutes
Butterflies.
from last week. Yeah, one of the giant pretty butterflies put him down on the floor in his combat style.
That would be quite a nice monster. Giant butterflies that have a wing effect that buffets you back off the side of mountains. Yeah.
All we've got is Hasra's 1 spear.
Yeah, because nobody else.
To fight it. No one's got range. Oh no! I tell a lie. Cyrus has his rack skill.
And Bartleby can shock him.
Yeah, maybe we're all right.
Yes, we've heard that's
he-
rather
he-
vast.
A little.
A little.
He just opens his cassock.
So I've just got to get up my character sheet. So Hengist's main combat skill at the moment is his Way of the Sword, which is how he uses his long sword. It's currently at 79.
79. So what's
So
your
I'll be
intelligence?
rolling
11?
a 1d100 plus 11 for Hengist's intelligence. Nope. It's now on
Ooh,
78.
78.
He's rolling the same skill again. Nope.
Ooh, 79. Wait,
No, sorry. It was on 79, so it's now on 81.
81. You're getting close.
And again.
Yes!
No, it's 1d4.
1d4 plus 1. Nice. What's that? Is that 86?
That's 86 now, yes.
Yeah.
And then there's one more dice roll going into it, I think. 1,
Nice.
2,
Yeah, you do.
yeah, 4.
Have one more.
Nope.
Oh, what's that then? 87.
It's about it's 87. That's good. That's almost a 10-point increase.
It is. That's good. That's
good.
very
He's getting good at his sword fighting again.
Fantastic. And that's you all done and dusted. And just to let you know, Hengist, I have created an order. You're the only person who's not actually a member of an order. Everybody else is. However, I have got an order for you to join tonight. Well, actually, you're already in it, but you don't know yet. And we're just going
Do you even have to pay anything to get into it?
No, I didn't have to bribe the Order of the Phoenix to let me in.
We move not copyrighted that. So we move across to Cyrus, the sorcerer. You've got 8 rolls. So tell us where you're going to take your 8 rolls.
I'm gonna change it up a bit. Because it's been a while. I've yet to actually make a new spell or learn a new spell since I started playing. So I'm going to use another learn a new spell called Bypass Armor.
Is that a cantrip or
It is
a folk magic or yours?
It's a sorcery spell.
Okay, so that will be
so
5
5
of your
points.
5 of your skill points. So that would be a nice. We haven't had a new spell for a while.
Yeah.
So what does that allow you to do?
So this one allows me. It affects objects, ornaments, or natural weapons of creatures so that they pass through armor. So I essentially nullify armor of the opponent.
Nice. So
And I can make the entire group, if I think ahead, just like I did with the physical protection spell. So essentially, not only can I make everyone a tank, but I can then also make everyone have weapons that just destroy everything it touches.
Yeah. So that is true because it affects objects and ornament or magical weapons, a magical creature. So yeah, you can cast it on everybody. It's interesting that this spell also works against magical protection such as damage resistance or shield.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So if I
should have told you about it.
If I actually cast it on someone, it can actually come through your resist armor damage resistance. Cool. So that's nice. So add that. Definitely add that,
one
to your spell list.
Okay. Nice. Thank you.
That is nice. I like that.
And then the other 3 I'm going to do is pretty much my combat style battle dancer. I'm going to do a roll for that.
Nice.
I'm going to do a roll for endurance because apparently I'm weak sauce and I need to put some put some Wheaties in my cereal bowl. And then the third one, of course, will be my sorcery.
Brilliant.
Invocation.
So first one, battle dancer, combat then,
Mm-hmm.
What's your skill at the moment?
67. So 1d100, and what is it, plus intelligence?
Yeah, plus your intelligence. So what's your intelligence? I would have thought it's
12.
Oh, not as high as I thought it was.
Hey, I seem smarter than I am.
So 1d100 plus 12, and you're trying to get your skill level or higher.
Plus 12. Come on.
That's nice. That's nice. So a 1d4 plus 1. It's a good start for your battle dancer.
Right. Come on, baby.
Yes, even better. Goes up by 5. Sorry, Medivac. There's not going to be a lot of these high rolls left by the time we get to you.
I know. Just, courage connection.
Very nice.
So that's 1 out of the 3. What's your second one coming on, did you say?
I'm going to do endurance next.
Endurance. Okay, what's that currently at?
Currently, 34.
Ouch!
But we'll try.
This is definitely an important one to get up.
Yeah.
It's likely to improve. I mean, it's only
I
34.
would hope, but you know,
Yeah.
you just said that, so it probably won't.
Unless you get something like a
Oh,
1.
yes!
Yes! So 1d4 plus 1. Oh! I think he's coding these, Medivac. Medivac, I think he's coding that.
I've been taking classes. What can I say?
I gave him my code.
And your final one on invocation, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
All right, let's see. Invocation currently is at, let's see, 63.
63. Oh,
Yeah.
this might be pushing it a bit.
Yeah, and I can't use luck points for this, right?
No. There's no luck points allowed. Oh, it goes up by 1. 64
So all
now.
the time learning a new spell and not practicing a new spell.
Yeah, and spent too much time waving your glaive around. That's the other thing. That is...
It's fancy.
I wonder. No, I was just thinking perhaps we should roll the scores and then you get to allocate them where you would like their successes to go. But that wouldn't work because of all the different skill levels. Hasra, we're coming to you with your 8 points. Or what would you like to do? Oh, just before we do that, Cyrus, I don't think you have a mentor who looks after you in the Order of the Phoenix. No copyright, please. Tonight, you're going to meet your mentor, the person who is in charge of you and is responsible for all your promotion and engagement in the Red Order from now on.
Does Cyrus seem like the kind of person that follows instruction or listens to anybody?
I think this would be an interesting... And I think the thing about it is, who is it going to be?
Oh, no!
I have 2 secret hopes.
No!
And I think Captain Kangaroo was like one of them.
Oh, do you know?
Hasra, how would you like?
Question first.
Yeah.
Passions, can I increase them by?
Yes, you can.
So I can just no. Yeah.
Yeah, passions can be increased by 2 ways. They can be increased by me assigning points to them within the adventure, or they can be increased via skill rolls, as long as it's something that you can provide some kind of way of doing it. So I think Hengist tried to increase his famed warrior by, getting bars to sing about him. Then that's it.
That's how he does it.
Yeah, but I'll do these first. So law, nature. I'm going to do 2 points in that. So we'll roll. At the moment, it's at 40.
Ooh.
So yes, hopefully this will be 109.
Nice.
Save that one. So that is going to be
1d4 plus 1.
1d4 plus 1. Oh, and a 5.
Do you know, everybody's first roll has been a success and been a 5.
Apart from mine.
All the...
Everything else.
Thank you, Mr. Pickles, for passing me the cheat code.
Right, and the second one in that one is going to be 23, which is a fail. So that puts up to 46 now.
46. That's good.
Next one is literacy trail signs, which I'm doing 2 in.
Yes. Yeah.
That's currently at 34. So
nice.
He's doing this because he spent a lot of time in the wilderness over the last adventure. So that's 1. It goes up by 4, so it's going to be 40.
Nice.
No, sorry, 38. Maths, eh? Gosh, geez.
Yeah, you were adding it to the 36.
Yeah. And the next one is 44, so that will go up by 4 again.
Nice.
So that will now go to 42. So willpower is currently at 40. I'm going to do 1 of that.
Okay. 1 of your willpower.
88.
Nice. 1d4 plus 1.
So that's going to be 42. Now, the passion is self-protector. Now, I'm thinking that when I was saving the little girl from the
Oh,
burning fire
yes.
would be a reason to inspire myself to.
I think that the stories that will be told about that, you can definitely try and increase in that.
It's at 54 at the moment. So
Well, it's not anymore. It's a little bit higher.
Oh, and it's 2 points. So 56 on
Not
that.
everybody saw it. But
next one is Drive, because he's been taking Brutus out quite a bit recently.
oh, yes. Good old Brutus.
So that's a 90. It's currently at 30, so a 93
Oh,
to
easily.
win.
Yeah, you're working on all the...
And
Oh!
a 5. So 35. And my last one is Ride, which is currently at 47.
47. You're getting all these low skills up now, which is good.
So 54, it's a win. And another 5.
Yes,
oh, my life.
nice.
So that's 52.
52.
And that is me. Thank you very much.
And when we come back to you tonight, you are going to meet your soulmate. There is somebody out there who is actually going to meet you. And, well, I'm just...
And it's not the ox, right?
Well, he's been driving it well. That's all I can say.
And Bully's star prize.
Okay then. So let's zip back to
Just before we go any further, and sorry, just a quick question: what are we doing about wounds?
wounds. Wounds will be able to be healed up during the time. If there's anything that you wish to buy, so I think Medivac, you need to piece together some armor for Hasra.
Yeah, I did that. So downtime 560.
Yeah, so whatever you've done, and you were mentioning payment before we came online. After we've done the individual stories, then I'll talk about that, because there's something going to happen. Right, Bartleby, you are ready to be promoted, yeah, and you are preparing to go from an initiate to an acolyte. And as you progress to this opens up new spells to you. So while D&D works on things like levels, Mythras works on the order with theists about where they are in the rank of the order of the god or goddess. So what you are going to do is that if you read it, it says that you have to have a minimum of 3 years, and you must know at least 4 cult skills of 70 or higher, and have and then provide a valuable gift or service must be rendered to the audience, to the order, to demonstrate devotion and loyalty. And the Church of Amriel and Margoth have a set rule for this. And what they require you to do is to start to take services. You are responsible for attracting and bringing in the congregation to Lindowe by your wonderful and excellent sermons. Now, obviously, we need to see how good you are at this. And so your skill in oratory is the skill role that you actually go for. Now, the church is really bothered about bums on seats. You know, when that collection bowl goes round, they want those silver coins in. And although you may consider that the church is out to save the poor, etc., etc., that's not really what possibly the higher order of the church actually wants. It's more cash for their coffers. So how this works goes as follows. Okay then, so the base number of people that will attend your services is done by rolling a d6, okay? And if you got a 1, that is 10 people, 6 would be 60 people. So we multiplied that by the number of people. However, we have an advantage because we use your 1/10 of your oratory skill, okay, rounded up to be the multiplier for that D6. So what is your oratory skill at the moment?
It's up to 55.
55. So you will have 6 D6s that you will roll, and then we'll multiply it by 10 to see how many people actually attend your congregation and start to listen to you preaching the word. However, there is a negative modifier that goes onto this, which is equal to 10 subtract that modifier that you've just done. So your modifier is 6. So it'd be 10 minus 6 will be minus 4. So what you will do is roll your score. You're rolling 6d6s. Say, for example, you've got 6 ones. That would be 6. Take away the 4, which means you would only get 20 people actually in the church for that day. Okay, so you can imagine that people whose oratory skill are a little bit lower than yours can actually get to the point that there is nobody there. However, there is a little bit more about this, because you have an option. You have an option that you have to declare before you roll the dice. Okay, so you can choose to ask for sermon time, ask for church time with the congregation in easy times of the year or the month that this is going to be. So these might be like on a Sunday or in a special type of worship. It might be like Christmas Day, so more people come out. It might be Amriel's holy day, and so more people come out. And if you wish to make your role easier, you can do, and your difficulty will, instead of being standard, will then be easy. However, dropping the skill down drops the dice down as well. So standard, you're rolling d6s. If you want to go easy, you're not rolling d6s anymore, you're rolling d4s. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, on the other side, you can go up. So if you want to roll beforehand and say, this is going to be a hard, then it won't be d6s that we roll, it'll be d8s that we roll. Okay? So it's up to you. Two more things. Critical rolls, if you get a crit, it doubles the dice roll. Okay? If you get a fumble, if you fail your dice roll altogether, then a minority of people arrive, about half the number that you would be expecting. So we'll roll it and halve it. If you fumble, it means you stand in your pulpit and prepare to talk to a congregation, and no one arrives. No one arrives. Now, you have to complete this service, okay, 4 times in a month as an acolyte. So this will be something that we're going to be coming back to again and again and again. And as long as you start up this and you do well, then you will be able to progress, or should I say, you'll be ticking off the first bit of your progression to acolyte. So here's the first decision that you have to make. Do you wish to go for an easy roll, or a standard roll, or a hard roll for your first term, your first ever sermon?
I think that Bartleby is confident and eager to try, so I would like to do a standard.
A standard.
Not an easy.
Okay, then. So let's see how many people actually attend.
So that would be 66 minus 4 times 10.
So what's your
55 is my oratory.
Yeah, so if you roll your skill first.
Oh, right.
Hengist is volunteering to be there.
Emotional support. 29 out of 55.
So you actually are successful in your first service. So you will be rolling 6 d6s for me, and we'll be deducting 4 from that roll. So 24, so that will go down to 20. So your first actual service, you get 200 people crowded into the church. And this is really good because this gives you a rating of how good you are. Okay, and once you get to a certain number of points, so I'm adding these points up, or you can add them up as well. And then what happens once you got to a fair number of people, you're sort of like, yes, they sort of like think, right, we would like to now actually, you know, get you to progress. So your first sermon, you got 200 people. Okay, then what about your second one? What are you going to do with that?
Oh, yeah, right, because somebody's learning magic.
Yeah, somebody's learning magic, so everybody... It's all right, the Hairy Hobgoblin's just completely in rack and ruin by the time you get... Nothing like prompt.
I'm going to go standard again.
Standard again.
Okay, oratory. Hengist, why aren't you here? Oh, there you are.
That's absolutely brilliant. Hengist is there, waving at the back, clattering around in his armour. So that would be 66s again.
18, 13, 130?
130 are at this one. So you're doing well. You're doing very well.
I've embarrassed myself yet.
What about your third one?
All right, I'm going to do a standard again because I'm on a roll with that. And Bartleby's trying to set that he doesn't need any special events, just a special friend.
Ooh.
Not quite.
Now, so what happens now? Roll your 3d6, your 6d6s and take off the 4.
Look. Sorry.
Am I able to use luck here?
Yeah, of course you can.
Well, then in that case, I would like to have a reroll because this is actually quite important to Bartleby. Thank you very much, Cyrus. Actually, seriously, thank you. That sounded ironic.
At this point, Hengist has gone round and just knocked people on the head and just dropped them in the back.
Hengist is going, you better be here next week.
Oh!
Okay, then. So
narrow.
66s. And then take away with the 4.
23.
Ooh! That's
30.
230.
Brings us up to 560.
Yep.
Total church points. And the final countdown.
What are you going for?
Is, I'm going to do another standard. Finish out with a month of standard stuff. Show my medal. Hopefully I don't have to use a luck point. And I'm not going to use luck point on this last one.
Okay, then.
So save my 2.
So roll 66s and take away the 4.
Oh, that's not how you roll that.
Oh, that's
11.
all right. So we're taking 15 off the total score now. Does that make sense? 150 off the total score. Because you failed the roll. Yeah.
Yep, I follow now.
Yeah.
Which bring me down to 410.
Okay. So that's not that was not, you didn't finish on the highest point that you possibly could do. Is there anything that you would like to do, Bartleby? Anything that you'd like to touch base with anybody or engage with any discussion? If it's anything to do with a Hairy Hobgoblin, etc., that's coming up shortly. It's mainly to do with you yourself at the moment, Bartleby himself.
I don't think that there's anything. Bartleby would likely be asking for advice from his superiors on his speeches, and probably later in the month that advice probably gets used incorrectly. But for the most part, I'd imagine Bartleby is studying and trying to do his best to improve his skills and really take this serious. So he might actually be a little bit scarce during this time period.
Then you must do, young Bartleby, is fresh.
And just out of interest, what are your sermons been on?
I would say that they're on reviving the community by helping each other, by doing our best, because this is probably not the impoverished. So Bartleby's trying to talk to the middle class here, I think, or that general broad range. So reviving the community, doing your part to help others, bring muffins to another person's house when you know that they're sick and need help or something.
Yeah. And probably you started off and everybody was coming to see you because you were a new preacher, a new member of the clergy. And then, you know, some people actually realized that you were telling them to share their wealth in some description. And so that probably accounts for the drop in numbers at the end when people think, oh, you think we're going to take any notice of that? You know, and they've jotted off and stopped attending. But you never know, next time there might be some people that go off and say how wonderful you are, and it might increase your congregation for the next month. Okay then, so that's Bartleby on his way to being an acolyte. And we move now to the Mr. Hengist. Now, Mr. Hengist, you have, I think, are allied to the wonderful House Galot. Yeah?
Yep.
That is right. Correct. And so when you get back, your staff, I think your manservant is called Alfred.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know, your staff are very pleased to see you, and there's a lot of curtsying and bowing and bobbing, and Alfred has kept things going, you know, because you've been away for quite some time, but he is also very keen to bring you up to date with things that are going to be happening. Or things which have happened already. There's several events that you have been invited to, and you have been encouraged to go along to these and, you know, mingle. And of course there is the opportunity that you might be recognized. You know, you might roll your famed warrior and people might be saying, oh, yes, we know now. But this is a golden opportunity for you to roll your courtesy skill that I think you have.
He does.
Yeah. So you are now in a new order, and your order is slightly different to everybody else's because your order is the nobility of Lindowe. So you can actually progress through the order, becoming more well known, having a better reputation, and it's up to you which track you take. You can either take the track of, I'm going to do anything I need to do to become high up in the noble order, or you can take the more good way, the more holy way, the more keeping everything in order way. And you can do either or. So you can spend your time sleeping with whoever you want in order to get there, or being nice to people. So you've been invited to these parties, and we really need to see how well you interact at these parties, how well you actually engage in. And what we're going to do, we're going to start you with a passion of the order of the nobility, or the nobility, just call it the nobility of Lindowe. And because you've sort of like got your foot in the door, this is going to start off at 20%. Okay? Now, just to let you know, the more time you spend successfully mingling, the quicker this score will go up. This is one of the scores that you cannot actually increase with experience rolls. It actually requires you to do some attending. And in order to get this up, then of course you have to engage correctly in the nobility. So the first thing that you need to decide, are you going to be a good person or a bad person? Don't let Cyrus
That's easy. Hengist is clearly not going to be sleeping his way to the top.
It's
Okay.
evil
He's
if
going to
you
be going. He's
fooling
going to
us
be.
all
He's
the
going to
time.
be.
Mistake.
I'm very pleased about that, because that would have brought some very interesting role playing later on if that had been the role. So
Involving roses going backwards and forwards.
yeah. So
And fertility birds and things
yes,
like that.
who bought? Who bought? Was it
that
you?
was Mr. That was Mr.
That was
Bartleby.
Mr. Pickles. Do you have
Almost
a new
tempted out
camera?
of the church.
Mr. Pickles, your camera looks super good today.
No, it's the same old camera, but I did turn on the light and.
Oh, that'll be it. That'll be it. So, first things first, let's see whether or not you're recognised at any of the parties. So this is your famed warrior skill that you need to roll, and you get 4 rolls of it just to see who actually sees you, because there's going to be about 4 events once a month. So if you would like to roll your 4 famed warriors, and we'll see whether or not the news is traveling.
I will attempt to, but my character sheet has gone white. Blank for some reason. It's no longer there.
Let's see if I can call it up.
I mean, it opens, but it just opens with nothing in it.
Right. Do you have just the roll a d6? A d100?
Oh, it's arrived. It's arrived. It's arrived.
Excellent.
Panic over.
Panic over.
Must have just been my internet. So it was my famed warrior skill you wanted.
Yeah. We got 4 rolls. So are you actually recognised? First party. There's definitely some people saying, who's that strange man in the corner? We have no idea who he is and what he's doing here. And the second party. This tension is unbelievable.
It's even...
I don't you
know.
complained about him getting all the high rolls.
Yeah. So somebody else at the second party says, I don't know who he is, but apparently he was at the previous party last week in the corner. I really don't know who he is.
That weird man who smells of armor polish.
Yeah, this is the third one. We're getting so close. It could be a massive. And so at the end of the third party, the people are sort of like seeing you around, but really and truly sort of like not really acknowledging who you are. You know, maybe somebody who's trying to make their mark on the nobility with no real purpose or reason to make that mark. What about the last party? Oh no, you are not recognized as a famed warrior at all. Now that is a passion you can improve if you wish, but currently nothing. However, while you're at the parties, you do have the option to be really courteous. Okay then, so can you roll for me your courtesy skill?
Yep.
Now people, although they don't know you, you obviously catch the eye of various young maidens and noble wives of houses, and the way you act is very, very well and very definitely very top knock, you know, and really watching your P's and Q's. So would you like to roll similar to the experience rolls? Would you like to roll 1d4 and then +1, and then we're going to multiply the score by 10?
1d4 + 1.
So that's 50 points. So you now have 50 points towards your reputation within the noble houses. Now, just to let you know, if you had succeeded in any of your famed warrior roles, you would have done the same. Okay, so you can start to work on your reputation in nobility. So just to let you know, we take that reputation and we divide it by 10, and that's your role. So if I ever want you to roll your, you know, whether or not you're actually known, then your current skill roll will be 5, you know, for that. However, there is some gossip and rumours up for grabs, Mr. Hengist.
Ooh, is that?
So you have a a choice. Would you like to talk to people you don't know, the maids in the house, or Alfred? Each of them have different information that they will know, and so it's completely up to you. What would you like to?
Sorry, so it was people I don't know.
People at the parties.
At the party that I don't know.
Yeah. The maids or the other staff in your house, or Alfred.
People I don't know. He's trying to be sociable, and he doesn't want to be the man
Okay,
known
then.
at parties for talking to the same people over and over again.
Just like some people have a streetwise skill, you have a nobility-wise skill, okay, which is a professional skill, and it based off, you're not going to be too happy about this, it starts off as your power plus charisma.
Yes.
So your charisma is 4.
Charisma's 4, power is 5.
So your information is 9. Okay, then. So what
Cool.
you're going to do is roll a d100. You can put it on your board, on your character sheet underneath your professional skills. So it's currently 9%. You just need to roll that. You will always find out information, but you never know whether or not the information I'm giving you is correct, incorrect, being exaggerated, being reduced. Okay, so you don't know that even with your dice roll, I've got a table here and I cross match it with your courtesy to give the degree of possible truths or possible lies. So roll your new skill of nobility wise.
Nobility wise, hang on, I'll just change the name.
Oh, right. Okay,
Miles
then.
away.
Miles away. So let me give you some gossip that you overheard at parties. The first thing that quite shocks you, you overhear from a group of ladies talking, and they seem to be talking about Harmony Lee. Now, I don't know if you remember who Harmony Lee was. She was the wife of Aston Galot, who you watched getting murdered. I think I remember.
Well, watched with a knife to his throat, but yes.
And yeah, so they seem to be gossiping about a new admirer that she has. And there's been various people, they sort of like it, then you would believe there's been even more people. That person's been coming back again and again. Oh, who was it, Mavis? Oh, I'm not at liberty to say. I really cannot say this at all. But there's definitely some gossip that Harmony Lee has a new admirer. And this is coupled with some rumours that seem to be going around that there is soon to be a new leader of House Galot. Now, if you remember, it naturally progressed to Harmony Lee. But there's rumours that there's going to be a new leader, and the House Galot really needs a man to lead it. Now, there's no connection. It's not done in the same discussion as the new admirer. This is just a different piece of information. Two more. The second daughter of Lord Geoffrey, Geoffrey Gold, who is in your House of Galot. The second daughter of Lord Geoffrey Gold is expecting. She's going to have a baby. And there is a rumour that the father is not actually her fiance, but actually
That wench.
the stable hand.
Oh, good, it wasn't Cyrus.
Oh, do you know, I should have. Oh, I wish I had thought of that. So the second daughter of Lord Geoffrey Gold is expecting, although there's a rumour that the father is not her fiance, but is actually the stable hand. And they do go on to say that, which is quite believable, because he's much more handsome and more buff than her.
Is the stable hand's name Jim?
Yeah. Jim and Pete. And there's one other piece of rumor that you got. Can I just say I really enjoyed making this extensive table, so I'm just picking my favourites.
Brilliant.
Lord Cleveland Joy has gout in his left foot.
Oh, poor man.
Although it is rumoured that his frequent visits to a certain den of iniquity and disrepute might suggest that it is in fact not gout, and also that it's not in his foot.
Oh dear.
Medivac's face.
I missed that.
So Lord Cleveland Joy has gout in his left foot, although it is rumoured that his frequent visits to a certain den of iniquity and disrepute might suggest that it's not in fact gout. And
Did he catch it from Granny's hole?
And it is not.
Leave grandmother's hole out of this.
And it is not gout and not in his foot. However, he seems to be off the social scene. And that brings your bit to a close. Which, is there anything else that you would like to do or say?
So Hengist would have been listening to these rumors, and he would have, at various points, he would have dropped them into subtle conversation with Alfred, to gauge his sort of reaction, to see if there's any.
Yeah,
what
and
Alfred is saying about or thinks about that.
Alfred is the typical trusty manservant, and he says things like, "Oh, that sounds most dreadful, sir. Most dreadful. Oh, yes." And when you sort of like say, "So do you think this is right?" He sort of says, "Oh, so I could possibly not actually comment on this." And he's really good at this avoiding it. But he does at one point sort of like say, "Oh, yes, he has been leaving his house on several occasions and not getting back to quite late in the morning." And sort of like, so he gives hints that he might be in touch with the rumours, but not actually engaged with them. And we'll move across, therefore, to Cyrus. Now, Cyrus is in the Order of the Phoenix, the Red Order. And this order, I always think Cyrus takes on, he is the typical traits and mannerisms of the Order of Phoenix sorcerers. He's hot-tempered. He likes to act quickly, maybe without a lot of thought. He's not subtle in any sense of the word. And the positive of this is that makes interaction with the party and other people very exciting. But what really Cyrus needs to come to terms with is that he is in the Red Order, and the Order is full of people who are hot-headed, speak their word, etc., etc. So Cyrus sort of like mirrors them, but you're in an order of them all. And just like the church, you have a place in this order. And until you've sort of like, what's your rank in the order?
I would say I'm somewhere in the middle. I wouldn't say I'm too far on the bottom. I think invocation being at like 60.
Oh yeah, but that's
bad.
but that's not what it actually goes on. And so it goes on the same as Bartleby, in the sense that you have to get various numbers of skills up above 70 to actually increase and go up the order. So sometimes you might be a lot lower down and not actually progress very quickly. So you're the Order of the Phoenix, okay? And so you have various skills that you need to work on. And I do think that this is in the document about
I have it.
spells, yeah?
Yeah, I have it. So sorry. It looks like things I need. I need combat, unarmed, willpower, and perception.
Okay then. So
Um,
those are the skills that you need, and therefore we now have to discover your rank. So just to let you know, on a good point, to start off on a very positive point, it's going to be the lowest it can be is a novice. Okay, so that you are a member of the order. So let's see whether or not you have the criteria to move to be a dedicated member of the order, and that will then give you your title of apprentice. Okay. So your requirements for this, you must have at least all the skills, or 5 if there's more than 5, at 50% or more. Okay, so you know what the levels are. So do you have minimum of 5 or all of those skills at 50% or more?
Let me look at them real quick. On combat, unarmed, perception, willpower. All right, let me look at. Willpower. I have 4 out of 6 above 50.
Oh, so you just need one more. You need one more to get the minimum of 5 to actually gain the rank of apprentice. And you can then start moving up the social scale. And just to make you aware that, say a thing happens to Bartleby and you, in the sense that in order to progress, you have to do certain things, but you get your board and lodgings free. And one of the things that happens for you to become an apprentice is that you have to undergo a search for a mentor. Okay, and this is somebody who will look after you and mentor you to your next level. And how this is organized in the Red Order is totally corrupted. As you can probably imagine, as yourself being a member of the Red Robes, you know, it's probably how Cyrus would actually do it. And basically what happens is that people pay, bribe, use strategies, political intrigue. That is what your order survives on. You know, there's all these hot-headed sorcerers around who are just trying to go one step higher than the other person. And part of this is to actually, you have to present yourself to a board, and all your rank does. And then you're then interviewed by almost like department leads, 3 of them, and then they decide who actually gets which mentor. Now, obviously, as you can imagine, Cyrus, the big mentors actually pay for who they want. And really and truly, the interview takes no... It's almost like a waste of time because decisions have already been made. But you go into your day of your interview comes up. Now, tell me, do you have a passion role for the Order of the Phoenix?
No.
No. Okay, then. So you will naturally have that, which is your knowledge of the actual order and how things actually work in that order. And that this will go in, it comes in at a set level, and I think it's power and charisma, but I just need to check. It's 30% plus your character's power and charisma.
All right, so I'll be at 53.
53. So your knowledge of the order is 53. And that can be used as a role anytime that you wish to get more knowledge. So let's see. Do you have do you remember what this interview is going to involve, or have you been spending your time doing other deeds? Or
No, I want to
drinking.
go higher. I want to go high. I have been doing drinking, but that's just to calm me down. But
Okay.
I think I will be doing subtle things to kind of help improve my chances, including using not only the deeds I've been doing the last few months with the party, but specifically trophies that I've gathered of the people I've killed and whatnot, including probably the best trophy I have, which is the religious idol we got from the water demons.
Oh yes, nice.
Water devils. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to donate that, hopefully, to Count Bastian in the name of the Order of the Phoenix, specifically donated by me, so that way I'm essentially bribing my way past my higher-ups.
Okay then. So I like where you're going with this. So first thing, therefore, it seems to me that you're using a bit of bribery here and political intrigue. So. Yes. Do you have a skill in that?
I have war tactics.
So I think what we need to do is think about a suitable bribery, because I get a feeling that you're going to go the other way to what Hengist is going.
Yeah.
Well, Hengist is going.
Yes, very much so.
Okay. So first of all, let's just roll your knowledge of the Order of the Phoenix. Let's do that first. And let's see how prepared you go into this meeting. Now, you have prepared well, and like you say, you've practiced what you're going to say, and you're going to say, I'm going to donate this to Count Bastian to show how the power of the Order of the Phoenix, and you're going to be talking about your successes and what you've actually done, all in
saving the world. Many times.
In the name of course, it's not yourself that has done this. It is the Order of the Phoenix. And so you go into your small room. You sit outside for a huge.
I do want to make it very obvious that I'm, as Cyrus, an important member of the Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah. Very important.
Very important.
You sort of like are sat down outside this room, and it's a bit like waiting to go in to see the principal or the head teacher. There's just this huge line of chairs, all people who look very similar to you in red robes, all of them tutting and being very hot-headed about the time that they have to wait. And they all come into the room, and this is where the interview happens, but they never come back out of the room. And you're assuming that there's another exit. Well, you're hoping there's another exit, because if not, there might be a faint smell of sulfur as you sort of like enter the room. And when it comes to your time, and you really have been there for a while, so just roll your willpower for me. And luckily you're keeping calm. A few of them have really sort of like picked up their chair and smashed it over things. But you're keeping rather calm, and you go into the room. And in this room, it's quite a blank room. And there's a long table with 3 red-robed magicians, sorcerers in front of you, all having the rank of 3 or 4 levels higher than you. And they seem to be having... they seem to be talking to each other, and you walk in and they're sat down, but there's obviously no place for you to sit at all. And you notice that there's an elderly man in the corner who's scribing down everything they see. And you come in and you notice that there's a mark on the floor, and you assume that that's where you stand. And they talk for a while, and you sort of like go, wait, would you like to give a cough?
Yeah, and like an aggressive cough too.
Yeah, okay then. Yeah. And you sort of like go, or however you would like. And they sort of like stop, look up at you, and the guy in the middle, who looks very similar to you, but you notice that his irises of his eyes are actually bright red. His pupils are black, but the irises are actually red. And he looks up at you, and he meets your gaze face to face. This is not somebody who... Imagine Cyrus after 20 more years of living and all that aggression that is built up. This is what he says. And he looks at you, and he almost like, you know, you stare each other out. And then he looks straight at you and says, name.
The magnificent Cyrus alias.
And he looks over to the person who's scribing and says, this is arrogant Cyrus. And you hear the old man go, arrogant Cyrus. And who would you like to mentor you? Says another one.
Should I roll for Order of the Phoenix again?
Or if you want to RP it and say that you want to, you know, be part of, you want the greatest, most powerfulest person. It's not necessarily a name that's important at this point. It's the level that you would like to be at.
I want someone to bestow upon me the knowledge I would need to destroy any enemy that gets in my way.
And he goes, roll your influence.
All right. Come on, buddy. Here I am.
Yeah, and you notice that this man, who's quite feeble and spindly, sort of like, he almost like nods knowingly at you, as if to say, this one will go far. Like that. And then the final question is, who do you most admire in the Order of the Phoenix?
Could I say someone who's probably no longer living but was great?
Yeah.
I would rather go that direction. Because
Okay,
if I say someone...
So what will
if I suggest someone that's currently alive or like really high up, they'll consider that person for a promotion later because I'm reminding them that people think they're good.
This is getting
But
tactical.
Yes, but if I tell them someone who's already dead, who obviously no one, but is probably did really, really well, like maybe one of the initial founders of the order or something, then they can like, oh, we have someone striving to be the actual best.
Okay then. So give him a name or her a name, male or female.
It's got me a male. Sorry, ladies.
Don't say Jim or Pete. Try to be a little bit more.
Hold on. I got a name. Hold on.
Jimothy. I quite like Jimothy.
Daedalus.
Could you type how you want to spell it in the...
Yeah, I'll type it. Daedalus is the father of Icarus from the old Greek.
Oh.
I think that's how it's spelled.
Yeah.
Does that make Cyrus Icarus then?
Yeah.
Flies too high and burns his wings off.
Yeah, and
too high to the sun.
The person sort of like goes, he sort of like looks for a while and says, isn't he dead?
But he was great for his time, and the order would not be where it is today without him.
Oh. And he sort of like looks to the middle guy, and the middle guy looks at each other and says, you may leave, and directs you to a side door. And as you're walking it, they just seem to carry on their conversation as normal, as if you're not you've left the room or if you're no importance, and you catch some little pieces of information as you leave, and one of them says, I don't think he was as good as that Melanie sorcerer. She was excellent at this interview.
Right when they say that, I want to cast shove on the door.
The door's shut. You would have to open it, but you can.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm shoving on the door so it also opens.
Okay then. So roll your folk. Yes, it's folk magic. Roll your folk magic skill.
I'm gonna do a luck. I'm doing a luck roll. I'm doing a luck roll. This is important. I'm doing a luck roll. All right, come on. I'm rolling a luck roll for this one. Come on, baby. I pressed the wrong thing.
I know. It just keeping us in. Yes. Yeah. So, is your plan to burst off the door?
Not necessarily. Like, I want to make a huge noise as I leave. Essentially, what I'm trying to do is create like a spectacular. I want to notice me leaving.
Yeah. So
after they mentioned Melanie's probably a little better.
And I think the power of it, will probably burst open the door, and you sort of like go like that. It goes bang like that as you go. And are you just walking out?
Yeah, just walking out as if nonchalant, as if I didn't even have to be there.
Yeah, and as you
I have better things to do.
And then as that happens, you just roll your perception check.
Oh baby. Watch, I'm gonna fail this. I'm not using like for this one. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, and you sort of like bang, and the dog goes chung, and you sort of like march out, and you hear what one of the same one who mentioned Melanie's name says. Oh, and his power is not as extensive as Melanie's at the moment. And you leave the room. And we're going to take a break there. Okay, we're going to take a break. And then when we come back, Cyrus, you're going to meet your mentor. And then Hasra, you're going to meet your soulmate. So there's two really exciting things about to happen. Will Cyrus meet his mentor and be pleased with him or her? It could be anything. Okay, and then who is Hasra's soulmate? We will be back in 10 minutes, which would be 46 minutes past or 14 minutes to the hour. So grab a drink and be right back soon. See you soon. And you are clear. Well done. Yeah, okay then. Has everybody moved places? I will do. I will get in touch with them. You do. You do. Right.
I won't bring up sexy time anymore.
Yes, we are back. Yeah, we left the party having some interaction with people within Lindowe, and Cyrus has made a grand exit from the door, and he's shoved it open, and there's been a clatter, and the leaders of the Red Order appear not to be phased by this at all, mainly because most of the people in the Red Order are very similar to Cyrus or several degrees worse of the negative attributes of Cyrus. But shortly after Cyrus, you get invited to the mentor ceremony. And what this is this is in a large long room, and people come to the front. The best way I could describe this is the sorting hat in Harry Potter. Have you seen Harry Potter?
That's the one with the wizard boy, right? He just weighs stuff and
Yeah, the wizard boy called Harry. Yes,
he has that dialect that's like a different language, right? It's
yeah, he's the one who can spell words correctly rather than
like he puts U in the word armor.
Yeah,
or the letter U in the word armor,
and in color and
I can't even read it. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, so
we've got a whole bag of U's to use.
Anyway, so have you seen Harry Potter and the Sorting Hat? No.
Yeah, no,
Oh, you know of it. Okay, then. So basically, you enter into this room, and there's definitely a hierarchy of it. So the leaders, the important people, sit at the front, and as you go further and further back down the order, the lesser known people sit at the back. And just to let you know, you enter, you are let in at a certain time, and you'll be pleased to know that you're 2 pews further forward than the people at the back. So the people at the back are the initiates who have are basically just coming into the order. You know, they can probably light a match, and that's about it. You're a little bit further up than that, but before ahead of you is another 10 rows of people filing in at set times. And you do notice somebody that you know who is 3 rows in front of you. And as she waltzes in, glides in, her red hair flowing behind her, she gives us a flick of it. And it sort of like casually drapes over one eye. And she sort of like walks past, and she's obviously engaged in the pomp and circumstance of everything. And she just sort of like smiles at you. Now, this is the moment that I think you need possibly a negative passion. Because I would like to know what Cyrus thinks about Melanie.
He thinks that she seemed to work her way up the ladder very fast. And that's because she's gone in chest first.
Right. So she's doing the way that you are trying to get up the order.
That's probably what Cyrus thinks. Yes.
Yeah. Okay then. So I'll message you, because I think we need to have Melanie is almost like your adversary at the moment in this place.
If we're using this Harry Potter lingo, which apparently I don't know anything about, she would be the Draco Malfoy. One would say.
Yes. Nice.
Oh.
Nice. Yes. Well done. And so we'll talk about that, or I'll give you a skill roll for that later on. But she's definitely a thorn in your side at this point, and even more so by the fact that you put her there. And I think Cyrus has to remember.
Cyrus doesn't want to admit that either.
Cyrus put it there, and she gives her nod at you, and she comes and sits down 3 rows in front of you. And the ceremony happens, and you notice that there seems to be only certain people being called to the front to be welcomed to their mentor. And it doesn't, you quickly catch on through your knowledge of the order that these are the popular sorcerers, the people who have made their way via the chest, so to speak. These people who have really manipulated their way. And after an hour and a half, the ceremony is brought to an end. And you're still sat there. You haven't been asked to go to the front to meet your mentor or anything. And you're a bit bewildered by this. This is your first time in this sort of like setup, because it happens annually. And you're sort of like thinking, what's going on here? And then you notice that as you go out, you're handed a piece of parchment that is folded, and on the top, very nice handwriting, very calligraphy, is the word Cyrus. Okay, and this person, this younger wizard, sorcerer, is probably some kind of hedge wizard at the moment, probably a young lad who just has these tendencies, sort of like hands this to you, and then he's handing out the next one. And you open the piece of paper, and there's a name on it, and a meeting time. I wouldn't be that nasty yet.
Is this really going to be a big twist?
And the name on it is the name of Goshawk. Goshawk. Roll your knowledge of the Red Order to see whether or not you know Goshawk.
No, I do not.
No, and you sort of like think, who is this person? And you're to meet in an hour. Do you want to go dead on time? Do you want to arrive early, late, or even avoid it altogether?
I want to show up like 2 minutes late.
2 minutes late. Fantastic. And you follow the directions, and there's somewhere in your order's house that you've never seemed to be to this place before. And rather worryingly, you're not climbing stairs, you're descending stairs. And there seems to be a series of 1 or 2 levels of basement underneath the order of the Phoenix's main building in Lindowe. And what's even more disappointing is that you end up going along a long corridor, and you can hear discussions going on in different rooms, and you get to the last door on the end, arriving 2 minutes late. Do you wish to knock or walk in?
I'll just walk in.
And you sort of like walk in, and you see this very small and spindly man sat on a chair. He's not in front of a desk. He seems to be in a chair, and there's a stool there as well. The fire is low. There's a couple of lumps of coal in there and a bit of a glow, and that's it. And you instantly notice that his red robes are dirty and tattered, and they hang limply off his rather feeble frame. And he looks up to you, and you instantly get this feeling that you maybe have seen the face that's looking back at you in some reflective surfaces as you've grown older, because it's definitely the face of somebody who is hungover. And you also notice at the same time that he's got dark bags underneath his eyes, and there's definitely this smell, not of what you hoped, sulfur, but more of some kind of alcohol. And he looks up at you and he says, "Oh, please tell me they haven't given me another one."
By the gods, you're alive?
Yes.
Thought you were a corpse.
Well, I might as well be in this institution. Yes. Somebody told me your name, but I can't. Signet. Was it Signet?
No, it was Cyrus. And that's all you had to
Oh,
remember.
Cyrus. Cyrus, for one moment I thought it was Signet. Well, he says, "I'm your mentor, so..."
You're Gas Eagle? Is that what your name? Gas Eagle? The Gassy Eagle?
And he just sort of like looks at you and meets your gaze for a while and says, "I am your mentor. And believe me, young boy, I have met and mentored many people like you in the past, full of yourself, full of fire, full of red-hot, pumping blood. Yes. But there is one thing I would like to make completely clear to you." And this toothless grin spreads across his face. "The only way up from me is via my report." And he just sort of like grins at you. And that's where we will leave your storyline. Just out of interest, if you wish to learn a bribery skill, it comes off the same as bureaucracy. It's the same sort of like skill, which I think is...
Is that a professional skill? Is that what it is?
It's a new skill, yeah. It's a professional skill, so you'll need 5 skill points, and then the starting skill is good news for you because it's double your intelligence, and your intelligence should be quite good. And then what you can do, you can use that roll. We'll either use it directly, or we'll use it to augment other rolls to make your way up to the top, either through or round Melanie as we get to it. And we're going to leave Cyrus there, and we're going to move on to Hasra. Now, Hasra is a member of the Brotherhood. Is that not? That is correct, isn't it?
Mhm, yes.
And at the end of every adventure, you have to report.
Yes, I go back to my Grandmaster and I report, and he has his scribe write down my reports of what's happened, what I've discovered, and so on and so forth.
Exactly. And you sort of like toddle off and you go back. And you're welcomed in. You know, the people of the Brotherhood like this idea of people come and go, just like the shifting seasons of the year. You know, people drift in and out of their engagement with the Brotherhood, and you're welcomed back with open arms. How much of what happened are you going to tell them? So in order to clarify this, I'm going to give you some topics, and you just need to say all of it, some of it, or none of it.
Nice and straightforward. Hasra will always tell them everything that has happened. He has got no. He's a very honourable person. He once he's with this group, he wants to tell them exactly what's happened.
Fantastic. So does that include the hunter killers?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay then. So you sit down and you start to explain, and when you mention this group of people, the hunter killers, the scribe gets very. It's not excitement. It's almost like they're very intent, and starts to quiz you amazingly about it. Starts to talk to you about how many people were they, how were they armed, what were their purpose, who were they aligned to. It's almost as if this might never have been recorded ever before. And if you remember, the hunter killers really only come out once every century.
Century, 100 years, yeah.
Yeah, so this scribe is really, really excited about it. And he sort of like takes down all this information, and he makes you repeat several things over and over again, and they seem to sort of like be very keen, and sort of like says, oh yes, we definitely need to know more about this, and you know, if there's any other information that you know or you remember at a later date, then to come back and to actually divulge the information to them. And after this long process, you get invited to a session that Hasra has never been to before. And the Brotherhood call this the Awakening. And the Grandmaster sort of like talks to you and sort of like says, it is time, Hasra, for you to attend the Awakening. And you sort of like nod and sort of like think, would you like to ask what it's about or not?
Hasra will look and say, if it is something you need me to do, I will quite happily do it, as I trust your judgment.
Be aware, Hasra, that our methods are often strange and unusual to the common people. But believe me, they are important.
I grew up on the steppes. I've seen many strange things from our witch doctors and our chieftains.
Yes, come with me. And he sort of like gets up, and they hobble to what can only be described as a circular shed. It's very small. There seems to be mats round the outside that you sit cross-legged on. And there seems to be a brazier, a burning pot, burning coals in the middle. It's very dark in here, and the only light is from the glowing coals. And high up you can see, it's almost like a teepee or a wigwam. Mm-hmm. There seems to be a little top bit that the hot air is rising up and out. And the chieftain, the chief of the Brotherhood says once more and says, relax and let your mind take you. And at that point he throws something on the coals, that make a very hissing sound and produces loads of vapor and smoke, which appears to be very sweet smelling. But you suddenly realize, Hasra's probably not encountered this, but as Medivac, not that you have encountered this, Medivac.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah, but there's definitely some kind of narcotics going on here, some kind of illusionary hallucination drugs happening. And they seem very pleased about this. And you take it in, and one sniff of this smoke fills you with a very pleasant feeling. Now, these are to enhance meditation. Now, you won't have meditation as a skill, but I can tell you that, I've got it up here. It's the addition of your intelligence and constitution.
Plus con, which would be, where are we? 13 would be 25.
Well, this is nearly as good as Hengist is. What's the skill that you've just got that is really low?
Nothing.
Nobility
can be as good
wise.
as Hengist's new skill. Nothing. At a skill point of 9, nothing can be as good.
Okay, just to let you know that I've just had a whole load of things say, yeah, Twitch is back. Welcome back, Twitch. So I've just been thinking we've just been talking to ourselves for the past, the past hour. So they haven't. Please do go back and watch the catch up. Okay then. So yeah, could you roll? What is that skill together?
Sorry, that's my constitution's 13, my int's 12, so that's 25 in total.
Okay then. So roll a percentile dice. I just want to see the effect of this. Yeah, okay then. So when you come out of this, there are going to be some retching and some
whitey.
Yeah, puke flying. But as you inhale it, your senses start to wander, and you close your eyes and you find yourself in a dream world. And you seem to be in this dream world where you seem to be stood in long grass. A bit like that PS4 game, Ghost whatever. Do you know which one I mean, with the swaying grass?
I can picture it, so you're fine. Yeah.
So
the Japanese one?
Yeah. It's called
Ghost Warrior.
Yeah,
Ghost.
yeah. Anyway, it's waving backwards and
Ghost
forwards.
in the grass.
And you're just sort of like stood there, and it's coming up to about your chest, and you seem to have been your armor, but you seem to have nothing, no weapons or anything. And the sky is there, but seems to be changing color. You're across the spectrum of blues and purples and blacks. And the grass itself does not appear green. It seems to be fluctuating through shades of brown and ochre and white and orange as it just sways back. And as you're stood there, you look out, every direction is just grass. And then all of a sudden you notice something moving towards you. And you probably don't remember Watership Down, but in the film there's like a black rabbit that jumps around. And what this thing looks like, it looks like something that almost like forms something, then disappears. And even when it's talking to you, it's like dissipating. And then it will appear again. And it seems to be the head and face of a jaguar. And you notice at that point that your amulet is warm against your chest as this creature comes in and out. And it seems to appear and then disappear and then come back again and then disappear. And would you like to wait for it to do something, or would you like to act first?
Well, Hasra, feeling he's having to get warm, will reassuringly, he'll just put his hand around it.
Yeah.
And then
And as you
then
put,
sort of nod towards the jaguar.
yeah, and as
Is
you
he-
put your hand around it, the jaguar reacts, and reacts like a cat does, almost when a cat, strokes a jaguar, and it sort of like goes like that, and it does that and then dissipates, and then comes back again, and it seems to phase in for a greater period of time, and its eyes are sort of like that deep yellow with the slits in it, and quite unexpectedly it talks to you, and it just says, Hasra? Sorry, I can't use that voice because it just reminds me of Shaggy out of Scooby-Doo.
Can you move faster? Simba.
It sort of like
Simba.
comes in and it sort of like goes, Hasra. And then it fades out again.
Yes.
We meet. I have been travelling a long time with you.
Are you the one that makes this tooth go warm?
I am the tooth, as it fades back out again and then reappears.
Hasra will take a sharp intake of breath.
I
But then-
am the tooth.
And then he'll please tell me more.
I journey with you. I am always with you.
Do you have a name?
My name? We do not have the need for names. You may call me whatever you wish. And the pauses in his talking is when he appears and disappears.
I see. And what do you want of me?
I am your companion. We journey together.
Do we journey the steppes, or do we journey the wilderness, or do we journey to a specific place?
We journey wherever the world takes us.
That is what I like.
We go together. We are one.
And please tell me, why are you showing yourself to me now? It's been such a long time since I've had you around my neck.
You have never sought me. I have always been there.
That is true. I was very confused at the first start.
Do not be confused. It's turning into Yoda now. I can just feel it going into a Yoda voice. Do not be confused.
Confused you are not.
I am here to help you. We are companions.
And how, my friend, can you help me?
I am your protector. We work together, Hasra.
I see. Is that when did you protect me when I ran through the fire to save the girl?
Hasra. Hasra.
Yes, my friend.
Hasra. And at that precise moment, you click out of the meditation and realize that it was not the jaguar calling your name, but somebody trying to break you out of the meditation. It is the Grand Master of the Brotherhood. And you sort of like come back to life and back into the reality. And as reality catches up with you, you feel your stomach forcing you to be emptied, and turn your head and there's sort of like puke everywhere. And you hear the Grand Master give a little chuckle, and he says, next time try to hit the bowl and you notice there's a bowl slightly off to one side, and he sort of like looks at you and says, well,
it was wonderful.
and he sort of like puts his finger up to you and says, what was discussed with your soulmate is between you and the soulmate, nobody else.
I understand, Master.
He says, come and find me once you are cleaned up. And he leaves the door of the wigwam or teepee open to actually let the air circulate. And soon after, you have a meal with the Brotherhood, which is quite common. And there is a main topic of conversation that seems to be going around that you are very interested in. And I'm just going to give you the pieces of information that you collect from listening in. So the whole Brotherhood, and remember, these people will have travelled to different places and congregated here and then move off again. But there is a concern through the Brotherhood, all the other chapter houses, but it's coming to this one quite new. And there's been reports coming in from the outlying chapters, on the edges of the wilderness, that there seems to be a rather large beast roaming the countryside. And just to give you an idea, the beast's tracks have been seen and measured and identified, but never the beast. The beast is never seen. Only the tracks are seen. And they talk about it being the size of an elephant, to give you that sort of like idea of size, compared to anything else. They report it to be either bear-like or wolf-like or something like that. It definitely walks on all fours. It has padded footprints, but they also have seen places where claws have made their mark in soft mud. However, although the beast has never been seen, the tracks have been seen, and something else. And that's the remains of things that it's been killed. And the first thing that they say is that there's definitely a ferocity in the attack, some kind of almost like madness. The beasts, the prey, are not killed and then eaten. The beasts, the prey, are ripped to bits as if it's been spread over a huge, a large area. And all that seems to be taken from the animal are what can only be talked about as the juicy bits. So things like the liver, things like the heart, the lungs, the brain. Those are the bits that taken. Anything that is not like the digestive system, for example, or the stomach or the kidneys, that's not touched at all. It may be pulled aside to get at the liver or something like that, but it's never been touched. And the most worrying thing about this, and the Brotherhood are people like you, Hasra, who have grown up in the wilderness. They understand the countryside. They are, your perception is high, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah, so their perception is roughly the same as yours or higher. But there has never, ever, ever been a sighting. Even when people have found the prey eaten, but still warm. Almost like identifying that it hasn't long happened.
Past, yeah.
And the worrying thing about it, and the thing that the Brotherhood is really concerned about, is that first of all, this happened in outlying countryside, far away from any of civilization. But there seems to be a progression towards civilization.
Right.
you're not too sure. They talk about it naturally moving in search of prey. They refer to like almost like a nomadic warrior that is tracking a whole load of people. And that's there's one more comment that you pick up again and again and again, and it said that a lot of people who report about it say it is far from natural. That's the sort of like the feeling that you get. So well done. That's each of your little parts of your story opened up and talked about. So is there anything that you would like to do or say in relation to your little stories?
No, I'll keep mine to a minimum. I don't.
Anyone else?
There always enough time. Anyone else want to add?
Sorry, my dog was snoring. Hearing this story about this large beast, Hasra will inevitably just wander over to whoever's talking about it, and he'll be
No, down.
Sorry.
Down, Hasra. Down.
Stay down.
He'll walk over and say, "Is it as big as a zuk-tuk?"
And they're not actually aware of this zuk-tuk. But they're really interested in it and how you defeated it, So Hasra spends some time talking about
I'll explain how my friends helped and how we managed to defeat this huge beast that was terrorizing. The barbarians, wasn't it?
Yeah, over the other side of the continent, which is you would expect them not to know about it, but
that's right. Of course, a different area.
Really, they're really interested. About it, and they sort of like say, could this be the beast?
It's supposed to be. We'll have to go and find out, won't we?
Yeah, and you probably related the story of the Zuk-Tuk to the Brotherhood.
I will have, yes, in detail.
So they will get very excited and say things like, tonight is the night of socialization and enjoying each other's company. Let's leave the Zuk-Tuk to another evening.
One thing I will say about Hasra, he will never embellish a story. He will say exactly what happened.
Brilliant. So, unlike some people, as Hasra looks at the camera below him.
Mr. Pickles.
Okay, so before we move on to the Hairy Hobgoblin line, Bartleby and Hengist, you are requested to attend the guild hall, the Merchants Guild Hall, and they, when you arrive, they greet you with very open arms and very, very pleasantly. And they sort of like offer you seats and offer you food and wine and say sit down and how good you're looking, etc., etc. And then eventually one of them says, to business. We understand the importance that you and your fellow adventurers played in the recent trade contract that we have recently signed with Airwood. And you suddenly think, oh, hang on a minute, that's how the last adventure all started. And you sort of like about to say something, you say, no, we understand that we might have been a little bit off base at the beginning of it, but we would like you we would like to make amends with you and your colleagues, some of which I know have a very low opinion of us. However, we would like to give you 2 items. And they sort of like click their fingers and a tray comes in, and on one of them there's a bag of money, and he sort of like hands it over and says, within the bag you will find the first the gift from us for the part that you played and we understand that you have a very important part to play in this. Please accept this humble amount of 600 silver pieces. And you sort of like nod and
Thank you. Yes, that's very kind of you.
What's the other thing?
And the other thing that we would like to offer to your party at any time that they wish is that there are several ones of us who are very very capable as appraising items, from fertility symbols right the way through to claws of wild animals. So this will be a free service for you for the possible for your rest of your time in Lindowe. And please, if there's anything we can do to help you in the future, do approach us. The worst we can say is no, but we would be interested if there's any profit to be made from it.
These are quite gracious gifts. We'll keep this in mind.
Did any of us bring anything from our last battle? Was there any keepsakes we took with us, or dead bodies of hybrids?
No.
Yes, of course, Cyrus. I'm going to carry all the dead hybrids that I've killed on my back.
It seems like a lot, because I definitely killed more of them, but
Bartleby holds up a sack that's had a dead hybrid in for a month.
I can imagine Cyrus skinning them all, and then daylight comes
do I look
human
good?
flesh.
Do I look good in this hybrid jacket?
No, it's new.
It matches my hair.
And it's just sort of like you both Hengist and Bartleby, you definitely get the feeling that they are definitely trying to make amends for maybe issues that have got on before, and they finish their meeting by saying, and I hope there is no bad feelings between us.
None at all, certainly. This is a very generous gift you've given us.
Oh, and may I just congratulate you, Mr. Bartleby, on a wonderful sermon the other day. Though I don't completely agree with giving money, maybe this shows that your sermon has made an impact in this.
I'm glad to hear that you were in attendance.
Yes.
For at least one of my sermons.
Hence why I asked what your sermon was about. To see whether or not the party got the money or not. Okay, so that sort of like ties up the end of the last adventure. Gives you all something to think about. But when you came back to Lindowe, things were slightly different. And over the month, things have been getting worse. So after you finish your training, engaging with your orders and preaching to people, seeking your soulmate, Hasra, engaging in social gatherings and party, finding out who your mentor is, you turn to the next thing on your list that might be causing you concern or might not be. And this is the sorry state of the tavern, the Hairy Hobgoblin. And every time you return throughout the month, the Hairy Hobgoblin seems somewhat quieter and, well, less full and less busy. Hasra, Basil starts to turn away your produce, saying that he can't afford it, or pointing to the cauldron where there seems to be the remains of a stew that looks more like stagnant swamp water. It seems to be bubbling, but almost like a yeah.
Well, Hasra will. I mean, he's not doing this for the money. He's doing it to ingratiate himself. That's the wrong word, but he's doing it to to pay a friend who's helped us out many a time, given us place to sit. So he will always give. If he's
Yeah.
not paying, he will give the meat. Because what's Hasra going to do then?
Yeah, and he sort of like Basil sort of like, oh, thank you, Mr. Hasra. And you notice that the pot is getting thicker. You also notice, Hasra, as you're handing over your game and rabbits, there seems to be a somewhat of a film appearing on the top as the yeah, and you're not quite sure, but you notice that it's formed around the spoon handle, as if the spoon's in it and it hasn't
Never
been
moved.
taken out at all. And
Hasra will say, Basil, perhaps maybe you should roast these. Maybe try
yes.
something new rather than just doing the boiled. Roast them
And
and
one of the barmaids off to one side sort of like says, roast them for who? And one thing that you notice is that your last visit and the one that we pick up the storyline, you actually arrive at the Hairy Hobgoblin to find something that you've never, ever, ever seen before. Because
Wash dishes.
the Hairy Hobgoblin is empty. Even the faithful drunkard who always sits in the corner that you always thought lived there.
was part of the map.
Yeah, not even he or she
Can't even move his token.
is there anymore. The whole Hairy Hobgoblin, for the first time you've ever seen it, is empty. And as you enter, there appears to be a conversation going on between a barmaid, Cyrus, the one that you quite like, and Basil behind the bar. Would you like to make perception rolls to see whether or not you hear any of the conversation before you'll notice that you've entered in and stopped?
Of course. No, did I press?
Hasra,
Is that for Hasra or for all of us?
each of you can make a perception roll. I know you'll all get the information, but I like to have it so you can, if you fumble, you gain that roll. Or if somebody gets a crit, then Bartleby's too busy looking at a stain on the floor. Hengist is trying to remember where he is. Yeah, so the only person who actually...
barmaids,
yeah, Cyrus is not looking in the right place to catch what the words are. But Hasra, you do, and then you can relate this to the party in a suitable time. They seem to be having an argument. And the barmaid is talking about payment and her wages for being a barmaid. And Basil is sort of like saying, but I have no money. There is nobody here. And she says, the bit that you catch, she sort of like sees you coming in. And she says, sorry, Basil, I have to go. And she pulls off the apron that she wears and sort of like flings it onto the bar and comes up to you all and sort of like looks at you all and then sort of like says, excuse me, and just sort of like forces her way through and go. And you see poor Basil looking rather depressed and forlorn. And it's at this time that you notice that he seems to be looking towards the door, but not after the barmaid. And you suddenly realise that with the door open, you can hear the laughter and the fun and the cheering and the raucous crowd that is part of the Sniffling Boar, which is the other tavern. And for a moment, you notice that Basil freezes. And it's almost then he remembers what his job is. And he says, come in. Just close the door. Drinks all round, is it? And he sort of like comes in and takes you to your normal table and settles you down in the now empty bar room.
With that, Hasra will say, yes, Basil, but get yourself one and you can sit with us. We need to talk.
And he sort of like says, "Oh, that's very kind of you." And he sort of like brings over whatever you normally would drink, and comes and sort of like sits down at the table with you. I've actually lost him. I can't see him on the map.
He's topped himself already.
Yeah, he's gone. I'll try to find him. Yeah, and so he comes and he sort of like slumps down. He slumps down into the chair, and he looks very forlorn and very sad. He looks so sad. You've never actually seen him this sad before.
Basil, my friend, tell me what has happened. Bartleby here has a way of raising spirits.
For free.
For free. And he tells you a story, and I'm going to give you the snippets of information that comes across, so you get everything that he talks to you about, and then by means you can ask questions about any of the bits that I tell you after we've gone through it. So they sort of like, he seems to be remembering it, and you realize that he's probably gone over this story a lot. He's relived this, and he starts off by saying, he says something like, well, it all began after that altercation. And you sort of like, altercation? Which altercation? And he sort of like says, with Master Cyrus there and Annalyn. And if you remember, there was definitely an altercation that went on. And
I kind of remember.
And Basil doesn't talk about that. He talks about Annalyn, who, if you remember, is the alchemist. And he says that Annalyn tried to sell his services, not sexual, but, you know, what he could provide and potions on the street. You know, trying to make ends meet. He wouldn't come back into the Hairy Hobgoblin, even though Basil says, I'm sorry, Mr. Cyrus, I said that you weren't here. But still he would not venture over the threshold. And he says, I kept asking him to come back. And then he disappeared. We didn't see him for a few days, and we feared the worst. But that is when the sniffling boar appeared. And he tells you that the sniffling boar was not always a tavern. It's never been a tavern there, because you would have noticed it. And it's never drawn your attention to it. And some of you sort of like think back and try to think in that memory, you know, this place, this street that you've walked down several times to go to the Hairy Hobgoblin, and what's in there. And one of you sort of like said, was it a tailor that was there? And he says, it was Meek, you know, the humble tailor, old man. And he wasn't really good at anything. You know, his fingers were failing him. He was rather grumpy. We used to call him Twisted Sid. He was reduced to completing work of the simplest garments. And, you know, he really, anywhere that he could hide his stitches, because he wasn't really good. Anyway, without warning, boards went up. And people could hear the sound of working behind the doors. But everything kept closed. And then, one morning, when the sign of the sniffling boar was hung outside, the doors went up. The doors opened on a brand new tavern. There was jugglers. There were people who could swallow their swords, and there were even magical tricks. And he looks at you suddenly, Cyrus, and says, sorry, not as powerful as yours, Cyrus, more sort of like, guess where the cup is, or guess what's under the cup. And he sort of like looks as if he's sorry, phew, I've avoided that one. And to make to make matters worse, somebody came out and offered free drinks and food, and they were served for several days and nights. And Annalyn was in there setting up his business, and that's when people slowly started to drift away. People would come in and say, "Is Annalyn here?" And sadly I had to point to the sniffling boar over the other side. And I said, "Would you like a drink?" And they said, "No thanks," and never came back. And now, well, you can hear it. It's definitely a more happy place than this. Just out of interest, I was interested how the altercation, all the alterations had been done. Who was paying for that? And apparently, and he looks around at this point as if he's not too sure of this rumour and leans forward and says, apparently it was all done for free.
Well, sounds like someone's trying to get you out of business.
Trying, Mr. Cyrus?
Well, people don't set up free.
He sort of like, he gesticulates with his hand and says, "I don't think the word is trying is right."
True. Well, looks like you lost a whole bunch of drug addicts for that potion guy across the street. That's a bummer. But
I lost business, Mr. Cyrus. I lost business. I lost customers.
Yeah.
I lost my livelihood. I lost my life.
Go for.
I lost my life. My life is this pub. My life is this tavern. And now
Basil,
it's
my
gone.
friend. Basil, how much does it cost to how much do you need to keep this pub running per week or per month?
I need customers.
I know this, but money-wise, do you need to pay your workers to work here?
I've got no workers.
I know, because you have no money.
No, Meg
No, but
just
how much
left.
Yes, how much did you pay her?
Well, a couple of silvers a week.
So for example, if I gave you some money, because you have been a wonderful friend to us, you've given us our own little table here. If we invested this money, Hasra wouldn't know that word, sorry. If we gave you some, I don't need money. I'm from the steppes. I live in the woods. If I gave you some of my money, would you be able to make this place work better?
Well,
would you maybe hire a cook?
There's another reason I need the money, Master Hasra.
Pray tell, my friend.
Because the person who I rent this establishment of has demanded this month's and last month's and the months before it rent, and I have no money.
And again, pray tell, how much is that, my friend?
Well, he keeps saying something about interest. It seems to go up all the time. He's a small, spindly man. Very angular features.
His name doesn't happen to be Sniffer, does it?
He has no name that I know of, but he looks very much like a rat. And that is a perfect time to leave it tonight, because Captain Kangaroo is going off to work now. And I think that's a good time to leave it, because it allows you as players to actually engage with the information and and think
digest
it and sort of like think about your next way forward. And if there's anything that you would like to be prepared for the next time we have a downtime for your individual characters, then please do let me know. Just direct message me that, and I can actually look at that. If you are interested in the home world, the world of Mythras in the Odes, then please do go along and look at the World Anvil site, which is of Mythras. You can find there the orders of the sorcerers, the deities, the brotherhood that we've been mentioning, the beast handlers, the mystics, the settlements, etc., etc. So there are definitely places that you can go and have a look. And if you follow it, then you will get a notification via your email when things go live there as well. Okay. It's been an eventful session. Thank you for coming out and listening, and I do apologize for Twitch chat once more. We will be back next week when we'll find out who has made the Hairy Hobgoblin bankrupt, and probably more importantly, why. It's been lovely for you to join us, even though you might not be able to type in the chat, and we will see you all next week. Okay, have a fun week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. See you all later, Prior. Bye.